Welcome back to the Means Report. So happy that you're staying with us. All right, I delivered in our first segment by promising you that we would help you gain expertise and get some hope, more importantly, in the world of finance, and Robert Osborne was kind enough to do that. And in our second segment, I promised you that we would tell you how to have an impact worldwide while staying right here in the comfort of your own home, and we're going to do that for sure. Dean Beasly is our special guest today. By day, he is the Inpatient Rehabilitation Director at Doctors Hospital, but for the rest of his life, he's with Wheels for the World, a group that spreads the gospel of Jesus Christ and gives the gift of mobility to those who would not have it. And Dean, I thank you so much for being here, first of all.
Thank you for having us.
Well, it's important because you think about somebody who has a disability and who cannot get around, all right, not just in this country, but around the globe. Then you think about them not having a wheelchair, not having any way to get to and fro, and then picture yourself or somebody stepping in and taking, Dean, a wheelchair that we might consider a throwaway.
Absolutely.
And you can take that and make good use of it and help those people. Please tell me, first of all, how the process works, how you could take a broken wheelchair from my garage and make good use of it.
Okay. Wheels for the World collects wheelchairs. They collect wheelchairs, walkers, canes, anything aluminum, and they have to be manual wheelchairs, not electric. Mm-hmm. They have contracts with 15 prisons throughout the country, and the different prisons have people involved who reconstruct these wheelchairs. They put parts on them, they repair them, they do whatever they need to do to get them in workable condition. From there, they package them with Bibles, tracts, and educational materials that are in the language of the places where they're going.
All right, how do you determine the need? How are you made aware of it? Does a country call you and say, hey, Wheels for the World, send me 10?
Not necessarily, but there are missionaries and mission teams that are in these countries, and they say, you know, we really need wheelchairs in Ghana, or we really need wheelchairs in Cuba. And of course, there was a big push for wheelchairs in Haiti when the earthquake and everything hit a couple of years ago. So that was where a lot of the effort was put then.
The good thing about the Means Report segment that you're in right now is it's going to hit the air about 12:10 or 12:15 when people are racing home from church. A lot of people complain that they missed the first segment, sometimes because of church, unless they tape it. So as they come home, I want to remind everybody that a lot of churches are involved in this Wheels for the World effort. Talk about that.
Absolutely. We have kind of let the word out to all the churches in the area that this is an ongoing mission type activity. It's not going to just stop when we have our first drive. It's going to be an ongoing thing because people have wheelchairs all the time, and people don't necessarily know about this. I have several churches that have volunteered to work with us on this project. They are Lake Park Baptist, which is down around Millage Road, around the Green Jacket Stadium.
Yep.
Damascus Baptist, which is up near the lake, so we kind of got that end of Columbia County covered. We have Harlem Baptist out in Harlem, and also Grace Baptist, which is my church out on Hardy McManus Road. And oddly enough, we had the Hampton Inn in Aiken call us just today, and they are interested in being a drop site. So if people have any of this type of material, and they can even take spare wheelchair parts too. Many of the DME providers have just bins of spare parts that can be used too, so they are able to drop those off there.
What motivated you to do this? Was it watching people go through rehabilitation through your job and you just felt the need to help people who are in those situations? What made you get involved?
Kind of all of those things, but I have a very special story if I can take a time out to tell it.
You know, Dean, that's the beauty of the Means Report, is we're not hindered and hampered and encumbered by time. You can just speak freely. Marlena, what, he could tell a 10-minute story right now, couldn't he?
I'll try not to take
No, go ahead, you're fine.
Well, just a little bit about the ministry itself, and then I'll tie the story into it. Johnny Erickson Tata is who started this disability ministry. She's very well known. There was a movie made about her life, I think by the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association many years ago. Mm-hmm. She actually was in a diving accident in 1967, and she was left a quadriplegic. She had very limited use of her arms, just enough to guide an electric wheelchair. But she was talented and learned to paint by holding a paintbrush in her mouth, and she has done some incredible artwork. And from that, the Disability Ministries was formed, and later on the Wheelchairs from the World formed from that. About 10 years ago, we had a patient on the rehab unit. He was in a very catastrophic industrial accident. He lost both legs, he lost his dominant right arm, and was left with his left hand and even not all of his fingers on his left hand. One of the therapists found out that he was able to paint or just sketch. So she worked with him on that. Well, we remembered the Johnny Erickson story, and we found a copy of the VHS tape, and we showed him this movie. Well, 10 years later, which was last year actually, he came back to the hospital and did an art show for us. Just some incredible work, and actually y'all covered that for us, which we appreciated very much.
Yes, sir.
During the interview with Kimberly, he mentioned how much that movie had made an impression on him during this 10-year cycle, and he still remembers that movie because he said, she could only use her mouth. I've at least got an arm that I can use. So it was kind of at that time I said, we really need to get moving with this. We had talked about being a part of this activity before, kind of put it on the back burner, but then we decided, okay, it's time. This is kind of our sign that we really need to take off and run with this.
Once you launched it, and since you've launched it, have you been surprised by the outpouring of support from this community, or did you expect it?
I always expect good support from things, but it has come very quickly. We already have 30 wheelchairs that have been donated.
Man.
Had a call from one of the nursing homes. They said, I've got 12 wheelchairs, can we bring them over now? I said, sure, bring them over. We've had calls from individuals that have something. I've got several that I need to pick up. These churches that have volunteered to be drop sites. And also one church that's already said, when you get ready to have to take them to the restoration center, the prisons, we'll be glad to take them for you, because we have a men's group that loves to just do transport like that. Have you seen firsthand the response from someone who gets a wheelchair? Personally, no, but they have a video that has been done that is incredible. And it's showing people, one guy in particular, they show a picture of him kind of crawling through the streets of his little village using like a pair of flip-flops, and that's how he drags himself through the village. And they fit him for a wheelchair, and it was just an incredible sight. Yeah, if you'll keep your eyes on your television screen, folks, you'll see that person using flip-flops on his hands to get around. Marlena has loaded a picture of it as well. What about the level of interest from around the globe? Is it primarily third world countries, or do you hear from people all over who need your help? It's mainly third world countries. We have found, and the information has shown, that the cost of a wheelchair in many of these countries is more than people make in a year. More than they make in a year? Yes. Oh my goodness. So these people are kind of secluded to the back room, so to say, because they can't go anywhere. They can't really go to church, they can't go to community outings, anything, because there's no way to get them there. What's the delivery time from the time you get a wheelchair that needs repair, so it has to go to the prison first, correct, and then how quickly from donation to, there he is right there, is that who you were referring to? That's the one. Unbelievable. Yes. From donation to delivery, what do you think we're talking? I think the longest time frame is about 18 months. All right. And where do these wheelchairs come from? If people are watching and they say, well, I have one, but I need it, or my loved one needs it. Besides nursing homes, where might people find these chairs in their lives? Nursing homes, hospitals. We have some that we've already, when they are needing to be retired, they're not really good for patient care anymore. Maybe they've gotten a little too wobbly to use. People do have them in their garages and their attics because they're thinking one day they'll need them, and they really haven't. And if a wheelchair sits up there long enough, it's going to not be as good as it should be. No. They kind of dry rot, get gummy, those kind of things. I actually have a nurse who works for me on the floor who has been scouring yard sales for me, and she's found some. So you never know. Why no electric ones? Why can't you use those? Mainly because of they are never sure of the locations they're going to. Right. One, how would they get repaired if something happened? And two, there may not be a way to charge them back up. May not be power to start with. All right, let's take a look now at how people can help. We've told them what they need to do, how simple it is, and there's going to be a big donation day, even though these chairs are welcome at any time. But tell us about the event coming up where people can focus on dropping off the chairs. Basically, we're going to be set up in the front hospital lobby at Doctor's Hospital on Saturday, September 24th. Yeah. And from about 9 to 3, and people can bring them by at any given time. We'd love to take some pictures, especially if church groups bring by a group of chairs. We've already had a couple call about that, just to let the ministry in California know what's going on. I don't think that interferes with a Georgia game, does it? I don't think so. Maybe not that time of the day. Well, and even a quick drop-off at halftime is not going to hurt you. Correct. So people need to dig deep and try to find those wheelchairs. Saturday, September 24th at Doctor's Hospital. And all the churches that you mentioned, are those drop-off points as well? Okay, so if you can't make it to Doctor's, please read the churches again. I want people to know how easy it is. Lake Park Baptist in Augusta, Damascus Baptist out in the Live community, Harlem Baptist, downtown Harlem, and Grace Baptist of Evans, and of course the Hampton Inn in Aiken. In addition to getting these chairs around the world, have you heard of people who have been converted to Christianity or who have accepted the gospel or ministry side of this whole thing? Absolutely. These, as I said before, these are people that may not have been able to even go to a church. for most of their life, and suddenly they have the mobility to get there.
Unbelievable. Well, Dean, thank you so much. I know you're busy, and for you to take time for Wheels for the World, an important ministry and an important effort, is much appreciated.
Thank you for having us.
And you got to talk longer here than you did with News Channel 6's Mary Morrison, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Dean has been put through the ringer. He's on the noon show this week and now on the Means Report. But it's good to spread that word, and we thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dean Beasly, Doctors Hospital. If you need inpatient rehabilitation, I hope you don't, but if you do, see him for that. And for today's purposes, make sure you donate to Wheels for the World. Broken wheelchairs, walkers, canes, it doesn't matter. They can make good use of all of it and get them to some of those people all around this great world of ours, as you saw in those pictures. When the Means Report continues, we are going to show you how you can get in touch with us and how you can shape our future broadcasts. And if you missed this one because you were running home late from church or just want to watch it again, we'll tell you how you can do that as well. Our past episodes are available for you 24/7. Stay with us.